Hello, and thank you for making the Integrity Sports Podcast a part of your weekly routine. Our show is brought to you each week by our friends at Harper's Tree and Stump Removal. If you have any tree trimming, tree removal, or stump removal needs, Harper's Tree and Stump Removal has you covered. They can also haul rock and sand. They do driveway work, and they can also build ponds as well. Give Keith a call at 229-314-2048 or at 229-938-2412. Harper's Tree and Stump Removal is the proud premier sponsor of the Integrity Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Integrity Sports Podcast, covering local sports in the Southwest Georgia area, creating content that is factual, positive, and informative, promoting efforts by athletes, coaches, sports administrators, and sports personalities. Thanks for making the Integrity Sports Podcast a part of your weekly routine. Now here's your host, Tim Estes.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Integrity Sports Podcast. We are available on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, X, and several other social media platforms. Remember to like and share this video. We're averaging over 3,500 views each week. So our program's really going, and especially if you're watching on YouTube today, the one goal we haven't hit yet is that 1,000 subscriber mark. So go to YouTube, hit the subscribe button, and help us to reach that 1,000 subscriber mark. We've got a great show lined up for you today as football season is approaching. All of our high school teams are into their summer conditioning and workouts. One of those guys that is working all summer is post-high school, and that's former Sly County star Carson Westbrook. He's now out at the University of Colorado in Boulder. Carson, man, I'm glad to have you with me today.
Thank you for having me, Coach.
Carson, you've been through an entire year now. Your freshman year's under your belt. Got a chance to play with Coach Prime out at the University of Colorado. Only a handful of athletes get the opportunity to play at the Division I Power 5 level. I'd be interested just to know right up front, what's been the best part of playing at that level, and what's been your biggest challenge?
Well, there's a lot of perks that come playing at Division I football, and a lot of challenges with that. But especially at Colorado with Coach Prime and the amazing coaching staff we get a lot of love around the community, and I feel like I really like that. But to be honest with you, Coach Estes, I really like the food that our cafe serves. Today we had some lobster tail, some crab cakes, some beef tenderloin. So that's really the way to my heart. I love the food here. I love the people here. And challenges, I would say just keeping your head down and continue to work. It can get tiring, and it can get definitely whenever you start going through the motions, you have to stay conscious of like what you're doing every day.
Carson, you've always been a strong academic student. What's it been like on the educational side of things there in Boulder? And tell me a little bit about maybe what your hopes are for life after college and football.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm a mechanical engineering major here in Boulder. And I'd say that's challenging in and of itself, but whenever you add football onto that, it can definitely take a toll on your life. But I'd say really the key to maintaining that is time management. I've got to make sure I set aside time to get my homework done, go to class, study the playbook, study film. And if I don't set aside that time, I'll just be scrolling on TikTok all day. But I'd say that's really the key to doing that. And after I get my engineering degree, Lord willing, I want to go into maybe law school and maybe become a water rights lawyer or something along those lines. My dad's really played a big impact in helping me decide what I want to do, and I feel like he has a really good head on his shoulders to guide me.
Absolutely. Carson, when you talk about academics, you had a firsthand view here of the preparation you got at Sly County High School. We have several student athletes on the high school level that watch this program each week. What kind of advice can you give them academically to be prepared for the level you're at?
I'd say listen to your teachers. I mean, your teachers are never trying to harm you, and especially like the people at Sly County. I don't know how it is for other schools, but the teachers I had at Sly County were second to none. I had some of the most amazing teachers, teachers that I still talk to this day that I really appreciate and really set me up for success here in Boulder. And whenever you go into class, just really, I'd say just be thankful because not everyone has the opportunity to have as good of mentors and faculty as Sly County and schools in that area. But go in there with a positive mindset and like sit down and pay attention in class. Don't be on your phone. And that's something I still have to do here in Boulder, because if I get on my phone in class, like it just goes in one ear and out the other. So I just have to make sure I set aside time and I really try to lock in class.
We are talking to Carson Westbrook, former Sly County Wildcat, now a Colorado Buffalo, playing up in Boulder, Colorado. Our show today is also brought to you by our friends at Carter's Fried Chicken. They're located at 206 Tripp Street, offering breakfast, lunch, and supper. Owner Mike Shadows and his staff support all of our local area teams, and they have been feeding Southwest Georgia for more than 30 years. They offer daily lunch specials with chicken, pork chops, vegetables, and they do it all at an affordable price. Carter's Fried Chicken is proud to be a 2025 sponsor of the Integrity Sports Podcast. Carson, it's kind of neat getting a chance to talk to you on air again, because I know one of my friends is one of the coaches out there. Coach Michael Pollock, former America Sumter High School coach, is on staff there, and I know he watches this program each week. So think about that as I ask you this question. But you and I stay in contact a good bit, and you always brag on the coaching staff out there. Talk to me about what it's like to play for a legend like Deion Sanders, and everybody knows him. But what about those other coaches that are there? Tell me about your position coaches, the guys you got on staff, and it really seems like you guys are building a really neat culture out there.
Yeah, no, I love this question, Coach. Coach Prime, he's obviously the head of the program, and he gets a lot of publicity. Like, and that comes with being a head coach. You get the light whenever it's hot, and then if things aren't going so well, you get the backlash. But the people that are really doing stuff behind the scenes, like Coach Pollock, I mean, he just got promoted to special teams coordinator and completely well-deserved. And the coaches that Coach Prime has chosen for his staff are second to none as well. Whenever you see coaches, this is a huge part of mine. Like, what makes me go is whenever you see coaches out there putting in the work and putting in the time and putting the effort, that makes me want to go as a player. And that really makes me enjoy playing for coaches like that, like Coach Pollock, and especially like my receivers coach, Jason Phillips and Coach Shad. I mean, those are coaches that they're not just out there just barking around orders. They really want you to learn, and they tell you what you're doing wrong, and they make sure to like put it in a way for you to understand it. And they want to see you succeed. And that's what I feel like some players don't understand is, I mean, you're going to get hard coaching no matter where you're at. But these coaches, I mean, they want to see you succeed. They want to see you do well. So they're going to do things that they think is going to make you do well. And those coaches, they do a really good job at that. And whenever they work hard, like
Carson,
I said earlier.
One of the neat things that your dad has kind of kept me up to date on is how you guys are graded on everything. You're graded not only on what you do at practice, but the meetings you show up to. And if you're early to breakfast and things like that, that coaching staff's really got to stay on folks to be on point, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're having to do just as much as players are, if not probably more. And for better or for worse, yeah, you're getting graded at everything you do, no matter what. Like, come to breakfast on time. Like, if you do something just out of line, your name's going to be put on that board, and it's not going to be in a positive way. But then again, also, whenever you do something positive, they make sure to highlight that too. I think that's another thing that our coaches do a really good job of. But even at practice, like, if you have a bad day of practice, it's going to be on the board, and everyone's going to see it, and there's no excuses whenever that grade gets put on the board. It's just what you did. And our receivers, we have a specific way of going about grading. Like, we have a specific grading thing, I would say, that there's really nothing up to luck. It's how you did that day. It's no excuses. Just whatever you did that day is what you're gonna get on that board.
Well, you kind of answered my next question, but I want to talk about this a little bit. Coming out of high school, you were a dual athlete. You came out as a receiver, but boy, you had some really good numbers, impressive even on the state level at defensive back with a lot of interceptions. And I think when you went out to Colorado, you weren't 100% sure what side of the ball they wanted you on. Now that you've been there a year, it sounds like they've got you on the offensive side of the ball. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
How do you like that?
I love it. I always loved playing defense in high school, but I feel like you don't really see a lot of guys like me at the Division I level playing defensive back. And so that's why I decided to switch over to the offensive side. And it's been really good. Like I said, I love my coaches. And also last year, we had an amazing receiver room. I got to learn under some amazing guys. Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun getting a chance to play. What's it going to take for you to earn some playing time?
Mm-hmm. Well, coming back again this year, we've got some amazing players this year. We still got Cam Michael from Statesboro, got some new guys coming in, Quentin, Joe, and some returning starters like Terrell and O. And so this year we're going to have an amazing receiving room again. But if I go out there and I continue to work hard, I think fall camp's going to be a really big deciding factor for everyone who gets to play. That's whenever all the decisions are made. I mean, that's whenever you're there from dawn to dusk and just strictly football. And so I got to go out there and really make plays and make sure I stand out and go out there with confidence. And I'd say that's the way to get on the field. I mean, these coaches, their job's on the line just like ours is, and they're going to put the best guys in the field to help them win.
Carson, before we came on, I pulled your schedule up, your 2025 schedule, and looks like Georgia Tech's coming to town August 29th to open the season up. I know Georgia Tech was one of the schools that kind of recruited you there for a while. That ought to be neat. You got a cool trip out to TCU. That's always a historic place to play. You get to go into Morgantown, West Virginia. Some really neat things on the schedule. I'm wondering from a player standpoint, do you just treat every game the same, or are there some of those games that you look at that schedule and go, oh man, I can't wait to go there?
Well, from a preparation standpoint, you definitely want to try to treat every game the same, but as a coach and as a player, that's not always how it goes. Some teams you kind of slack off in practice a little bit more, and you got to make sure you have a mindset where you don't do that. But I'd say there's definitely some teams in there that we're going to amp it up at practice. I feel like as a team at Colorado, they've built a culture that never really goes down in practice, never really goes down in intensity. We only take it up. And so I'd say there's definitely a few teams. I know last year, whenever we played Colorado State, we amped it up, and we don't have them on the schedule this year. But also that goes along with the season. Things happen throughout the season through social media nowadays where it's gives you a little bit more motivation on practice and on game days.
We're talking with Carson Westbrook. If you just tuned in and you say, man, I'm wondering what Carson's been up to, you can always go back and watch the replay of tonight's show. Want to say a special thank you to our friend Marty McDonald at the Marty McDonald State Farm Insurance Agency. They're located at 925 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Drop by and see Marty, Mary Lynn, or any of their fine staff, and let them discuss your insurance needs with you. You can reach them at 928-3686 or look them up on Facebook. They can even do the discount double check to make sure you're receiving all of the savings that are available to you. Thanks again to Marty McDonald, State Farm Insurance, and always remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Carson, it's kind of hard, I would think, for a high school student athlete to understand the full preparation that you guys go through and doing what it takes to be successful. Talk a little bit about the daily grind. Let's say that it's game week and it's a Monday. Kind of walk us through that week and what the grind's like leading up to the following Saturday.
Okay. All right. Going back to on Monday, you're probably going to wake up at about 5:45, and then get to the facilities by probably 6:15, check into breakfast, go in for the team meeting. That's whenever they sort of lay out the game plan and all for the upcoming week, upcoming opponent. and you're in there, you're watching film, you're scheduling like the plays that you're going to play, that you're going to use that week. And then right after that, you're going straight into position meetings. And with position meetings, that's like a little bit more tuned in to exactly what you need to do to prepare this week. And right after that, probably around, I'd say we're at 9 o'clock right now, you're going to go to special teams meetings with Coach Pollock. And he's going to lay out the game plan in that area. And from there, you're going to go to practice, and probably from till about 11 after that, 9:30 to 11. And then you'll probably have a lift right after that, all the way up until probably about 12 o'clock. And some guys have to leave earlier for class. And if you leave earlier, you're going to make that up somewhere later in the day. And then from 12 on, you have classes, coursework, homework, things of that nature. But then at night, you're having to watch film. You're having to get hours of film in every week, and that depends on the opponent. I know last year, I think we had to get like minimum 8 hours of film for a few games, if I'm not mistaken. And so that's another 8 hours or 6 hours, whatever it was, added on to that. And so that's sort of just like a rough draft of sort of what we did. Things vary day to day, but that was what a Monday would look like.
So I imagine it's really a work-life balance. You got to get your football work in, but at the same time, you're there to get a degree. And man, it's tough during the season, especially. But it sounds like you've done a pretty good job of that. Amid all the preparation that you go through, I would imagine you still find time, even if it's late at night, to keep up with some of your friends back here in Southwest Georgia. I know you are very astute on social media and with your telephone, but talk about those folks, those friends, maybe your coaches, folks back here in Southwest Georgia that you still keep up with.
Yeah, every day I would ride my scooter to the facilities and ride it around, and that was my time to like sort of chillax. So every day, as soon as I get on my scooter, I'm usually typing in a name on my phone for back home and calling them while I'm driving on my scooter around, just because those are times that I can sort of catch up with them. And I love to talk back with them, see what they're up to. Some of my guys back home, like Jay Kanazawa, who's at Barry right now, Sam Forehand, I talk to those guys a lot. And they're doing well. Lewis, doing great at South Carolina. And now Zayden, he's at UGA. And so those are all guys that I like to keep up with. I like to text on a regular basis. And that community right there is something that there's nothing like. I mean, I have amazing people out here in Boulder, and I feel like community makes everything. And so out here in Boulder, it's been a lot of fun. Like with the guys around me, I love them, and they make it worth being here. Like the camaraderie on the team and everything. But I'll always miss my guys back home and the people back home in Ellaville.
Carson, is there anybody or maybe a group of folks that you've gotten to know since you've been out there that have really meant a lot to you and become good friends?
Yes, sir, definitely. One of my roommates, Ryan Staub, has been a really close friend of mine. And then Tagger Barton, he's another receiver with us. But, I mean, I can't just sit here and name names. There's been so many guys here on the team, students that were in my dorm last year that really made an impact on my life. And whenever things start maybe not looking so well in school or not looking so well in football, just being able to lean on those guys and have a foundation like that, that's something I'm really grateful for.
Well, I know your parents make several trips out there each year and have plans to do that again this year. I get to keep up with Tucker, and I saw where Tucker's now moved down to a new school at Central Florida to work down there. And your sister, I think, comes out to Boulder a few times a year. Talk to me about what it's meant to you to have such good family support.
That's the number one thing in my life, without a doubt, Coach Estes. I don't know where I'd be without them right now. Even right here on my desk, I got a picture of me and my brother, a picture of my parents, and right over there's a picture of me and my sister. And I've talked to all 5 of them on the phone today, actually. And they're people that I don't know where I'd be without them today. I thank God every night whenever I hit the pillow. They're the first thing I thank him for, I really can't even put into words like how grateful I am to have a family like that, and especially like role models like my dad and my brother, like guys who I just want to be exactly like, and sweet women in my family like my mom and my sister that are just so encouraging and just really give me a lot of joy and bring me a lot of joy. It's very fulfilling having a family like this, and I'm very grateful. I don't take it for granted ever. I know like a lot of people aren't as lucky as I am to have the people around me that I do, whether that's community or my family. But I mean, I could sit here and talk about this all night, like how grateful I am for them.
Man, I'm always grateful that you answer the phone when I call or when I text you, and especially during the season, man. It's a lot of fun. You know, here in Southwest Georgia, we're 2 hours behind you guys, and sometimes you're playing on the West Coast even later at night. So I get a good opportunity to see you guys play a lot. And several times last year, you and I would text back and forth or call. So that's been kind of a neat thing for me. I'm going to have to send you a picture, though, so you can have a picture of Coach Estes there up on your desk. But, man, it's been a lot of fun to have you. We're looking forward to watching you in year 2. And, Carson, thanks for joining me tonight.
Thanks so much, Coach Estes. It was a pleasure.
And we want to thank you for, again, making the Integrity Sports Podcast a part of your weekly routine. Thanks again to our sponsors, Harper's Tree and Stump Removal, Carter's Fried Chicken, and Marty McDonald State Farm Insurance. Before we go, remember to like and share this video with your friends. For my buddy, Carson Westbrook, I'm Tim Estes. Thanks for watching. So long, everybody.